Okay, welcome back. Let's get started with creating some boxes. So this is going to be the first box we create. It's this big area. We're just going to call this section 1. And then, for example, this will be section 2. And this is how all the videos are going to be structured. And then, this will be section 3, all this section here, down here. And then section 4 and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's start with section 1. So we need a big area, and it needs to have a background that's a dark color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer on here, and I'm going to use this picker tool, and I'm going to pick the background color. And then I'm going to click the background color so that it swaps into a primary color, and then I can double click it and open it up. Now, this is a good time to talk about colors. Now, we're going to be generally working with hexadecimal colors. And what does that mean? Okay, so we see down here, we have this pound sign or hashtag sign, and then a value of 1B, 1A, 1D. Now, colors are made up of 3 values. We have red, green, and blue. And so the values of this color, red, green, blue, are 27, 26, and 29, as we see here. Now, when you convert these values into hex is a base 16 counting system. We typically count in base 10, right? We count in 0 through 9. Base 16 counts 1 through F. Okay, so it's like 1 through 9 and then A, B, C, D, E, F, essentially. So 27 in hex is 1B. 26 in hex is 1A. 29 is 1D. And when you put all these values together, you get 1B, 1A, and 1D, okay? And we're always going to be using this value right here, all right? So the first things that I want to do here is I want to create a new SAS file. So I'll right-click on the styles folder and select new file, and then underscore section1.scss. Again, we're going to import this file into a different file. We're going to import it into our main file here. And I'm going to use the keyword @use section1. And then put a semicolon at the end. I'm going to delete this .hello class because we don't need this anymore. And I'm going to go to our index here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new div element. So you're going to notice that I pretty much exclusively use divs and spans. We'll talk about more about spans later. You can use other different kinds of elements. I just find it kind of useless to use them. My idea when I write code is I don't use things that I don't need. Even if they exist, if I don't feel like I need them, I just don't use them. And I think that's perfectly A-okay. So we're going to set a class here of section1. And now we have an element. And I'm just going to put in here, this is some text. So when we go view it, there's going to be some text there. So if I save, we can see down here that our project is rebuilding. And I'm going to open up our window, and this is some text. Very cool. Now that's not very helpful. Let's go ahead and set the background color. We'll create a new class called section1. And we will put in background. And the color, that's not the color we copied. So we'll go back here and we'll double click this and copy it out. And we notice that we made an error and now it's crashed, but that's okay. And I will do this, background, and paste it in. Now, hexadecimal colors, you can use uppercase, you can use lowercase. This is the exact same thing, and it's okay. There's another thing you should know about colors. For example, for hexadecimal colors, if the value of the color is all the same character, for example, white, which is FFF, you only have to specify the first 3 characters. And if you're wondering why white is F, let's come in here real quick and let's do a little test. Okay, we made our color completely white. The values for white are R, G, and B, all of 255. 255 in hex is FF, and so you put all the FFs together and you get a bunch of Fs, all right? The same thing for black. For black, black is the absence of color, okay? So RGB is 0, and all our values are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. You put them together, you get 0. So if you want to specify black, you would just 0, 0, 0. And you can see in the autocomplete here that it has the version with the 6 zeros as well, and you can do either one of these. Okay, so to specify a background color, we can specify the background property and then give it a hexadecimal value. Now, the background CSS property can specify a bunch of different things. You can specify colors by actual name, green. This is not a good way to do it because each browser implements these basic colors by name as a different color. So you almost never want to actually do that. You can do things like radiant, gradients. You can put images on here. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with this background property. And this is kind of a thing with CSS where certain properties are extremely flexible, but they also have other properties that are essentially offshoots of that property. So for example, we could use background color and then specify the background color on here. And this is another way to do it. So I just want you to keep this in mind because I will be presenting you with solutions that are technically not the only solution. That's kind of a cool and bad thing about computer programming is there are always different ways to accomplish the same thing, and it's no different in web development and writing CSS. I've been writing CSS for a very long time, and I mean, I used to have to write code for like Internet Explorer 8 and 9, and those browsers don't have the same types of properties we have these days, and you had to do things in different ways. And the way I'm going to be teaching you is how I would do it today with like more modern things like Flexbox and whatnot. So it's always important to keep in mind that there are a lot of different ways to accomplish the same thing, okay? So now that long-winded speech is over, let's go ahead and go look back at our screen. Because we had some code in there that didn't compile, this is broken and we just need to reload the browser window. And looks like we have this black bar here. And if we highlight over this, this is some text, okay? So that's your first little mini lesson, and we'll continue on expanding on this in the next video.